God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because what you are hearing right now is not random, not accidental, and not something meant for everyone. This message reached you at a precise moment, at a precise breath in time, because heaven itself leaned in your direction." In the unseen realm, Archangel Michael stood before God with emotion in his voice, not out of weakness, but out of deep concern and love for you. He asked God to allow you to see this, to hear this, to finally understand something about yourself that has been hidden even from your own awareness. There is a reason your heart feels slightly heavier right now, and at the same time strangely calm. That feeling is not imagination. It is recognition. Heaven is acknowledging you. Michael has been watching the path you've walked, the strength you showed when no one applauded you, the discipline you maintained when shortcuts tempted you, and the integrity you carried even when it cost you something. What you thought was ordinary endurance was actually rare character, and heaven noticed long before people did. In the spiritual realm, something unusual happened. A man of great wealth, influence, and discernment, someone the world would call a millionaire, recently became aware of something connected to you. Not your money, not your status, not your appearance, but your value. He discovered a quality about you that even you underestimated. This discovery did not come through chance. It came through alignment. God allowed someone with resources to recognize a soul with purpose. That is never an accident. You may wonder why your life has felt delayed, why recognition seemed slow, why answers came later than expected. This is because what God is preparing to release into your life is not fragile. It requires maturity, grounding, and discernment. Michael knows this, which is why he became emotional. He saw how close you were to doubting yourself, to minimizing your worth, to assuming that nothing significant was happening behind the scenes. Heaven does not move loudly at first. It moves precisely. Right now, unseen conversations are happening about you. Decisions are being weighed. Opportunities are being considered. Paths are being rearranged. You are not being watched with suspicion, but with interest. The kind of interest that asks, "Are they ready now?" This is why this message found you. It is not here to excite you temporarily, but to stabilize you internally. What is coming into your life requires calm confidence, not desperation. Michael says your name has been spoken in heaven with sincerity, not urgency. That matters. Urgency creates fear. Sincerity creates alignment. What is unfolding around you will not need force. It will feel natural, even if it is unexpected. When it arrives, it will make sense in hindsight. You will look back and realize why certain doors stayed closed, why certain people exited your life, why certain delays protected you instead of harming you. This is also a moment of inner correction. God wants you to stop seeing yourself as someone waiting for a break and start seeing yourself as someone being positioned. The millionaire who discovered something about you did not find luck. He recognized substance. That substance has always been there. It was simply hidden beneath humility, patience, and restraint. Heaven values those traits far more than noise. Michael's emotion is not sorrow. It is relief. Relief that you are still open. Relief that you are still listening. Relief that you did not close your heart after everything you carried quietly. He knows that once you understand your true value, you will stop settling, stop shrinking, and stop questioning whether you belong in rooms that were always meant for you. This message found you because you are approaching a shift that does not announce itself with chaos, but with clarity. Your discernment is sharpening. Your confidence is stabilizing. Your presence is becoming noticeable in subtle ways. People may not say it out loud yet, but they are starting to sense something different about you. That difference is alignment. Heaven is not rushing you. Heaven is guiding you. And what is about to connect with your life will do so because you are ready to carry it with wisdom, not impulse. Michael wants you to know this: you were never overlooked. You were protected until the timing matched your capacity. Stay grounded. Stay observant. Stay steady. This is not the end of a season, but the quiet beginning of a new one. God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this continuation is not separate from what you already felt stirring inside you. It is the same current, the same divine flow, moving deeper now. What heaven began revealing was never meant to stop at awareness, it was meant to lead you into understanding." In the unseen realm, Archangel Michael did not step away after the first declaration. He remained, watching, listening, observing how your spirit responded. Heaven always watches the response before it releases the next layer. There is something important you must understand about why Michael became emotional. It was not only because of what is coming toward you, but because of what you survived without losing yourself. Many people break internally long before life breaks externally. You did not. You adjusted, you learned silence, you learned patience, you learned restraint, and sometimes you learned how to smile while carrying weight that others never saw. That combination is rare. Heaven measures readiness not by excitement, but by stability. And you have reached a level of inner stability that qualifies you for what is ahead. In the courts of heaven, your journey has been reviewed not as a list of failures or successes, but as a pattern of growth. Every delay refined you. Every disappointment filtered your desires. Every closed door taught you discernment. You are no longer drawn to noise the way you once were. You are no longer impressed by speed without substance. You are no longer hungry for validation the way you were before. That change did not happen by accident. It happened because heaven was preparing your inner structure before allowing outer expansion. Michael knows that if what is coming had arrived earlier, it might have overwhelmed you or distorted you. Blessings given too early can become burdens. Influence given too fast can weaken character. But now, something has shifted. Your spirit has matured enough to hold weight without pride and opportunity without panic. This is why heaven allowed someone with resources, influence, and discernment to notice something about you. They did not notice your struggle, they noticed your foundation. You may not realize this yet, but people with true authority do not look for loudness. They look for consistency. They look for quiet confidence. They look for someone who does not collapse under pressure or become arrogant under praise. That is what was seen in you. That is what even you underestimated. Heaven did not. Right now, there is alignment happening between who you have become and what is about to meet you. Alignment is subtle. It does not announce itself with chaos or fear. It feels like clarity. It feels like things slowly making sense. It feels like emotional noise reducing and mental focus sharpening. If you've noticed yourself becoming more selective, more thoughtful, more inwardly calm, that is not distance from life. That is preparation for responsibility. Michael says something important here: what is unfolding will not require you to chase it. Chasing implies lack. This will come through recognition. Recognition always follows readiness. That is why this message did not come earlier. That is why you are hearing this now. Heaven releases understanding first so that when opportunity arrives, you do not mishandle it emotionally. There are conversations already happening around your name, not because you demanded attention, but because your consistency created curiosity. People are sensing depth where they once assumed simplicity. They are beginning to see capability where they once saw quietness. And heaven is allowing this slowly so that you remain grounded. Sudden elevation without grounding creates instability. But steady elevation creates longevity. God wants you to release one thing now: the belief that you must prove yourself. What is coming will not be impressed by effort, it will be aligned with essence. You will be chosen not because you tried harder than others, but because you became more solid than before. This is a different kind of selection. It is quiet, deliberate, and lasting. Michael remains near because protection is still active around you. When alignment begins, interference often tries to distract, rush, or confuse. That is why you may feel moments where your mind tries to question what your spirit already knows. Do not fight those thoughts aggressively. Simply do not follow them. Calm confidence is your shield right now. This part of the message is meant to anchor you. Not to excite you, not to create impatience, but to help you remain centered. The clearer you become internally, the smoother the transition externally. Heaven is not testing you anymore, it is positioning you. You are closer than you think, but closeness does not mean urgency. It means precision. Stay observant. Stay humble. Stay steady. What is aligning with your life will recognize you naturally, without force, without fear, without noise. This message continues because heaven is still speaking, and your spirit is still listening. God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because what unfolds now is the deeper layer that most people never reach." Many hear words, few understand timing, and even fewer recognize positioning. This part is not meant to excite your emotions, it is meant to stabilize your spirit. What heaven is doing around you is precise, intentional, and measured. Nothing here is rushed, and nothing is random. In the unseen realm, Archangel Michael is no longer observing from a distance. He is actively standing in a guarding posture, not because danger is coming, but because movement is coming. Heaven guards transitions more than battles. Battles are loud, transitions are quiet but vulnerable. When your life begins to shift internally before it shifts externally, protection increases automatically. That is what is happening now. You may have noticed that certain old patterns no longer pull you the way they once did. Things that once felt urgent now feel unnecessary. Conversations that once drained you now feel optional. Even emotional reactions that once came quickly now pause before forming. This is not emotional numbness. This is discernment maturing. Heaven does not move people forward until their reactions slow down enough to make wise decisions under pressure. There is a reason your patience has been stretched instead of your circumstances changing quickly. Patience expands capacity. Quick change without capacity creates collapse. Heaven already knows the scale of what is aligning with you, and that scale requires an inner structure strong enough to hold it without distortion. This is why your growth has been internal first. Internal order always precedes external elevation. Michael understands this well. He has seen many rise too quickly and fall under the weight of what they asked for. That is not your story. Your delays were not denials, they were filters. They removed impatience. They removed entitlement. They removed the need to be seen too early. What remains now is clarity, humility, and quiet confidence. These qualities attract the right doors without forcing them. There is also something important you must hear clearly. What is approaching your life will not arrive disguised as chaos. It will come through clarity. It will make sense when it appears. You will not have to convince yourself. You will not have to override inner resistance. Peace will accompany it, even if responsibility increases. That peace is heaven's confirmation. You have been misjudged before, not because people were evil, but because they only saw a surface version of you. Heaven intentionally allowed that. When people underestimate you, they do not interfere with your preparation. When people overestimate you too early, they place expectations you are not meant to carry yet. Heaven protected you by keeping you unseen until your foundation was strong. Now, however, perception is changing. Not loudly, not dramatically, but accurately. People are beginning to sense depth where they once saw quietness. They are beginning to recognize stability where they once saw simplicity. This is not admiration. This is recognition. Recognition does not flatter. It aligns. God wants you to understand that alignment feels different from desire. Desire feels restless. Alignment feels calm. If you feel more calm than impatient right now, that is a sign you are not chasing anymore. Things are beginning to move toward you. That is the difference between striving seasons and receiving seasons. Michael speaks with reassurance here. Nothing that belongs to you will bypass you. You do not need to compete, rush, or compare. What is assigned to you recognizes your frequency. It cannot be stolen by noise or distraction. It arrives through order. That is why your life has been reorganizing emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. There may be moments where you feel slightly disconnected from people who once felt close. This is not loss, it is reassignment. Some connections were seasonal. Some were supportive only during preparation, not during elevation. Heaven removes gently before it replaces meaningfully. Trust this process without resentment. Another truth must be spoken clearly now. The discovery that was made about you was not about what you can do, it was about who you are when no one is watching. That integrity is rare. Talent can be found anywhere. Character cannot. That is why heaven takes its time. That is why Michael is attentive. What is ahead requires trust, not just skill. You are being positioned into a space where your words will carry weight, your decisions will affect others, and your stability will influence outcomes. This is not about status, it is about responsibility. And heaven does not hand responsibility to those who still crave validation. Your reduced need for approval is one of the strongest signs that you are ready. Do not interpret the quiet as emptiness. Silence often means systems are aligning behind the scenes. Heaven works silently when precision is required. Noise is unnecessary when alignment is accurate. Remain observant. Remain grounded. Remain inwardly still. You do not need to announce anything. When the moment arrives, it will speak for itself. This part of the message is meant to anchor you, not push you. Stability now ensures longevity later. Michael remains present. Heaven remains attentive. And the unfolding continues. Not rushed, not delayed, but exactly on time. God says, "Listen closely, my beloved soul, because this is the moment where everything that was quietly prepared begins to settle into form." Not explode. Not rush. Not shock your nervous system. But settle, the way truth settles into the heart when it is finally ready to be carried. This is the phase where heaven stops explaining and starts establishing. What you are feeling now is not excitement alone, it is recognition. Your spirit recognizes that something real is anchoring itself into your life. In heaven, Archangel Michael is no longer standing in a posture of watchfulness alone. He is standing in a posture of confirmation. That distinction matters. Watchfulness guards what is forming. Confirmation protects what is already decided. Heaven does not confirm possibilities. Heaven confirms outcomes. And this part of the message exists because the outcome concerning you has already been agreed upon. There is a deep reason why this season feels different from all the others. In the past, you hoped. You waited. You asked. You endured. Now, you are not asking in the same way. You are allowing. That shift is everything. Allowing means resistance has weakened. Allowing means fear no longer sits in the driver's seat. Allowing means you trust your own discernment enough to stand still without anxiety. Heaven only releases permanence when a soul can remain steady without needing constant reassurance. What is entering your life will not arrive as chaos pretending to be opportunity. It will arrive with structure. It will arrive with clarity. It will arrive without demanding you betray your values, your peace, or your identity. Anything that requires you to abandon yourself was never sent by God. Heaven does not rush you into confusion. Heaven brings you into alignment. You may notice now that your intuition has sharpened. You sense things before they are spoken. You feel shifts in rooms before words change. You recognize truth not by excitement but by calm certainty. This is not imagination. This is spiritual maturity. And maturity is the final requirement before responsibility increases. Michael understands this better than most. That is why his presence around your life has intensified quietly rather than dramatically. There is something else unfolding that must be spoken with clarity. The people who once misunderstood you are no longer central to your future. Not because they are bad, but because they cannot steward what you are becoming. Heaven does not punish people by removing them, heaven simply moves forward. And anyone not aligned with forward motion naturally falls out of rhythm. This is not rejection. This is redirection. What is being released to you will feel earned, even though it is grace. It will not feel foreign. It will feel like something you have been slowly growing into for years without realizing it. That is how divine timing works. When heaven moves, it does not surprise your soul, it confirms it. Your past struggles did something critical. They taught you restraint. They taught you observation. They taught you to respond instead of react. That is why you are now trusted with influence, even if that influence begins small. Heaven grows impact the same way it grows roots, deep first, wide later. Michael speaks here not with urgency but with assurance. Nothing meant for you will require manipulation. You will not have to beg doors to open. You will not have to perform to be accepted. You will not have to diminish yourself to fit environments that were never designed for your depth. The environments being prepared will recognize you without explanation. There is also a truth about love, connection, and partnership that is stabilizing now. Not fantasy. Not obsession. Not urgency. But recognition at the right time. Anything that rushes your heart ahead of your clarity is not aligned. What is aligned will arrive when your peace remains intact. Heaven protects the heart by protecting timing. As this unfolds, your role is simple but powerful: remain present. Do not rehearse outcomes in your mind. Do not relive old disappointments to test whether this is real. What is real does not need mental defense. It stands on its own. Let life reveal itself one layer at a time. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not catching up. You are arriving. And arrival feels quieter than anticipation. That quiet is not emptiness, it is readiness. Michael remains near, not because you are fragile, but because what is arriving is valuable. Heaven guards value carefully. And you are learning how to carry it without fear. Now hear this final anchoring truth: you are not stepping into something temporary. You are stepping into something sustainable. Something that will grow with you instead of draining you. Something that will honor your integrity instead of testing it. Something that will feel like alignment, not performance. Remain steady. Remain grounded. Remain open without forcing outcomes. What heaven has decided does not require your anxiety, only your availability. And now, as this message completes, let the action move from heaven to earth. If this message resonated with you, take a moment and like it so the energy of alignment continues to flow. Share it with someone who needs clarity instead of confusion. Comment what you felt while listening. Your words matter more than you think. And subscribe so you stay connected to messages meant to strengthen, not distract, your spirit. What is unfolding does not end here. This was not just a message. It was a moment of alignment.